One of the biggest challenges that principals find most difficult is finding a process where teachers, students and other personnel can be meaningfully involved in building capacity.
You come out of uni knowing the textbooks, thinking that you perhaps know how to do certain things, but it's certainly different when you're presented with a class and left on your own.
From our research, we have found that one of the most important things for students and student achievement is how teachers engage with the actual practice of teaching.
Leaders in all schools, secondary and primary schools, all need to say what's the best way of doing something and how can we as a school all agree on the best way.
Critical mass mentoring system is an approach by St. Peter's School to develop essentially a professional learning community.
Where we demonstrate for each other, we de-privatise the classrooms, we continually try to improve.
I really enjoy learning from my peers, and that's the most effective practice I've seen in being able to develop ourselves and increase our capacity.
It has enabled me to implement things within my classroom more effectively than if I had just been, say, to a normal in-service and I'd seen something and I brought it back.
Certainly the biggest benefit to having this program is just the improvement in teaching practice.
CMMS.
The CMMS program is a professional development program here at St. Peter's which has a major focus on building teacher capacity.
CMMS came about in 2004 when we were concerned that the teacher development models used by most schools, and certainly the system, involved the trickle-down method, which was teachers travelling away to be in-serviced in certain things and then coming back to the school and maybe a couple of minutes to talk to the staff about what they'd been doing for the day, but there was never any follow-up for that professional learning to make a difference in classrooms. And the principal at the time said, well, if there's a better way to do it, come up with something. That's why we designed the critical mass mentoring system.
At first, a lot of teachers find it daunting.
So to do so, we've had to work together to develop open classrooms and de-privatise classrooms.
So they feel confident in having colleagues, leadership members, experts come into their classroom and actually witness what they're doing, witness their practice, observe and actually give feedback on what they're doing.
I really enjoy having other teachers come into the room because they always have some feedback for me, and I enjoy having a look at what they're doing in their rooms.
I love that everyone gets to be an expert in something. They are able to then coach and mentor others.
It aligns the school vision with what happens in classrooms. It makes sure that teachers are equipped both with regards to resources and also their own capacity to follow through on that vision.
The way it works is we have one particular teacher from each year level in each CMMS group. They will then act as the mentor to their colleagues in their particular year level. The expert trains the teacher, gives them as much expertise as they can, and we follow a model where the expert will not only engage in professional development workshop style, but will actually go into the classroom and role model specific pedagogical practice. Then the teacher in that CMMS will role model for the expert. When they're feeling confident and that they have a certain level of expertise, certainly not an expert, but an expertise in that area, they will then role model for their colleagues. And eventually, in this cycle, their colleagues will role model for them.
Because there's 3 groups and therefore 3 projects, so 3 things that are being learnt, what that means is there's a reciprocal obligation. And reciprocal obligation means if I'm learning how to do one thing, it's my obligation to teach my 2 year-level peers how to do that. And they've each learned how to do one thing as well, and so their job is to teach me how to do that. And that's how you come about teaching 3 particular concepts or 3 particular pedagogical approaches to all of your year-level peers, and that's how you get a school-wide pedagogy. So everyone knows this is how we do a particular thing in this school, and we've all been taught how to do it the same way. And we all know the benefits of it. We've learned from the best people possible, and so we all get the same message, we all use the same language, the kids are used to doing it the same way as they progress through the school.
Professional development has to be a part of a teacher's lifelong learning. Just through research, through data collection, through experiencing different types of innovative practice, teachers become more confident, they're able to address the needs of their students better. Generally, they make a more cohesive body when they come together. They're all on the same path. They actually want, their whole purpose is to improve student achievement.
The biggest thing for myself as a teacher is watching the students' level of engagement as well. So because they're scaffolded, because there's so many learning strategies in place, they're succeeding, and with success breeds success, and they're loving that and running with it.
One of the things that I particularly like about this school community is the way that teachers are encouraged to extend themselves in the area of professional learning. We have many teachers here on staff who have either completed or are in the process of completing postgraduate studies, and that's something that's strongly encouraged within this particular community, so I think that's very valuable.
The real key of the success of this community is the fact that they are putting so much effort and time into teacher development. It is good that teachers' passion for what they're doing, being well trained, and then it just overflows into the kids, and the kids get that same sense and that same passion for wanting to do well.
Like any community, St Peter's has its challenges here in Caboolture. However, in spite of the challenges, the outcomes, the results that have been achieved here are outstanding.
This year, the CMMS Enrichment Group have concentrated on the 10 essential skills of classroom management and worked with their peers on those skills, and then we actually had class profiling done. So we had some external profilers come in to do like an audit, a voluntary audit on the teachers on how they're using those management skills in the classroom. We've also worked on differentiating the curriculum so that each teacher now has the skills to target their teaching at different levels within the room, to work out where the students are and then to cater for the students at those levels.
The first year of CMS, which was 2004, the very next year our NAPLAN results had improved. It doesn't take a long time for it to see a difference in terms of the learning outcomes, but that's not the end result. You want it to be this teacher building capacity and the start of your professional learning community. So you don't do it just to see better results in literacy, you do it to see better results everywhere, including the attitude of the teachers and the interest of the teachers. The beauty of CMMS too is that there's no starting point or end point. You can come new to this school and dive straight into CMMS.
It's an approach that really relies on teacher involvement, student involvement and community involvement working together to improve the way things are done at the school.
What we've learnt in our years of doing this is that what the teachers learn how to do has to be a particular instructional approach or an aspect of pedagogy, how they teach something. If you can make sure that the topic involves something that the teachers can use and make use of and demonstrate, and they can see that it's effective, then they will use it, and the follow-up support will make sure that it's happening how it's meant to happen.
So the CMMS model that we use at St Peter's is fairly different to a lot of my colleagues that I went to uni with. I know for a fact in my first year of teaching it was very different. I was released a lot out of the classroom. Principals and teachers were in my room a lot to come and watch me teach, and I was in charge of teachers learning who had been teaching for 20 or 30 years. Suddenly I was in charge of the literacy group.
So I've been teaching in Catholic education for 20 years, and the CMMS model I'm just enjoying. I've learnt so much this year, having even the principal come into my classroom and model for me. coming in and knowing what was expected straight away and knowing that there were experts in different fields within the CMMS teams was comforting, and also gave me a chance to learn more about a particular area and be the expert for my year level.
Whatever area I've been a mentor in, my knowledge and understanding has grown exponentially.
CMMS will not work in a culture which does not have the support of the whole community. It's not something that can be imposed on a culture which is dysfunctional, on a culture which does not have the support of the community. It certainly cannot be imposed on a culture where leadership is non-existent or leadership is very weak. It requires strong leadership, it requires strong support, and it requires strong commitment from each of the different areas within the school community.
The leadership team are learners along with the teachers. Their job is to learn along with the teachers and to be doing the same modelling and demonstration as the teachers do.
At our school we have at the moment about 230 students. We're a smaller school and we're mainly one stream, and when we did start CMMS we were a one stream school. What was very clear to me is that it needs to be consistent with the elements of CMMS.
The temptation is to cherry pick some aspects of CMMS which initially may seem easy and initially may produce some quick results. However, we know from experience that the quick results quickly disappear as they arrived. So CMMS has to be seen as a total package, not as a number of different segments or parts that people can take and try to implement by themselves.
I found that the CMMS program helped to build my confidence as a teacher.
I find that CMMS groups empower me to be a better teacher.
You've got those specialists right next door.
Within the role of co-leader for the CMMS ICLT group, I found myself allocating budget and finances to purchase hardware and software for the school to ensure that best practice is existing in the classrooms. I've worked with the ICLT team to formulate an action plan and a direction for the group for the year. In the role, I've helped to appoint a specialist from outside of the school, someone who is proven in good practice with ICLTs, and he's now become the facilitator of good practice for our group.
One of the advantages of the CMMS is that there are other people within the school that you can go back to and say, oh, I forgot this part, can you help me out? Can you remind me what I was meant to do here? It really builds that sense of collegiality. It helps me to implement things within my room more effectively.
What I really love about CMMS groups is that you don't have to be a specialist before the year starts. It's actually great to choose an area that you're not so good at, that you might want the extra professional development in, and it gives you that opportunity to become the specialist throughout the year. Every classroom is very much an open classroom.
People, however, get so used to the idea of people coming in and actually observing them for all sorts of different strategies. They have gained some sort of enthusiasm of the process. They actually like the feedback that they're getting and they've grown from it.
So all of those things are essential elements. With any of them missing, then it's not CMMS. Things like the teacher release associated with learning those new strategies and new concepts. So teachers here get up to 8 days release a year, so 2 days a term, to work in their groups with their colleagues to learn how to do this particular strategy. The other essential element would be the follow-up support, so that expectation that we're going to watch the expert do something, that we're going to then show the expert that we understand it in our rooms, that we're going to allow teachers into our room to have a look to see how it's done, and that we're going to give our peers feedback when they have their attempt at doing it.
Another area which is extremely obvious when you visit this school is the confidence that teachers have in their own ability to teach. There is not a teacher here who wouldn't welcome any visitor into their classroom.
So currently we use people like Dr. Judy Hartnett, who's recognised as one of the leading maths educators in Queensland, and we use Pat Edgar. Pat Edgar is a literacy consultant. We've been using her as our literacy expert in this school for about 6 years now.
CMMS.
The best part about the CMMS groups is that it values everyone. If you're a graduate, if you're a long-serving teacher, we've all got something to give and to share, and we've all got a professional responsibility to one another to help each other to grow.
It also just reassures that we're all doing the same thing, we're all on the same page.
It's just a constant journey, because if you stop learning, you become complacent, and I would never want to be complacent and think that I knew everything. So each new year that we start a different mentoring program, or we, like as in the topic, is just a new experience and something exciting for each year.
CMMS.
I do believe that much of my success has been due to the confidence that the CMMS program has given me.
CMMS.
One of the best things about this profession is you're never always knowing everything. There's some safety in that, knowing that there's always more to learn and that there's people around you that are in the same boat and are as excited to learn as you are.